Improving as an artist. Every artist learns and improves at their own pace, but over the years I've learned some tips that I think would have helped me improve a lot quicker if I had learned them earlier. Hopefully these tips can help you as well. And while I'm giving tips, you can watch my speed drawing of Gi-Hun from Squidgame played by Lee Jung-Jae. Tip 1. Do the harder drawings. I always used to avoid tougher drawings. I didn't think I was good enough to do them, so I put them to one side and said I'd do it once I've improved. But I think doing those harder drawings is one of the best ways to become a better artist. Giving yourself a challenge and doing a harder drawing raises the ceiling of how good that piece of work can be, which can help you learn quicker. And on a similar note, use sharper and better references. If there's a blurry image that you really want to draw, then by all means go for it. But sharper reference images are generally more likely to result in better drawings, and will help you improve. The more details the image has, the more details you can draw, and generally speaking, the more details you draw, the more you'll improve as an artist. Next up, find the weakness in your art and study it. Turn your weakness into a strength, then find your new weakness and turn that into a strength as well. Keep working on the weakest parts of your drawing and the improvements should happen a lot quicker. But also, don't be afraid to draw just for fun. You don't always have to be focusing on improvements in order for you to improve. As long as you're drawing consistently and regularly, you will get better. It might be slower and more subtle, but it will happen. So don't worry about drawing without thinking about which area you could work on. Just have fun. The next tip is conveniently about looking for tips. Keep looking for tips. It sounds simple, but one of the best ways to get better at art is to find tips and techniques from people who are better than you. Look for tips and techniques, and if you get the chance, ask artists for advice. If you have the opportunity, test out different art products. It's good to test out different products when you can. At the end of the day, I think most of the skill in a drawing comes down to the artist, and I'd never want to suggest that you can't make great art with more affordable tools and products. But better products can make a huge difference and can really help you step up to the next level once you've developed your skills. And even if certain products aren't higher quality, they might still fit you better. So have a look around and find what suits you and your art. Speaking of art tools, in my opinion, a good sharpener is as important as a good pack of pencils. Bad sharpeners can frequently break your pencils and can even cause weaknesses all down the core, leaving them very difficult to use. A good sharpener helps you keep a sharp point and lets you get more precision and get the most out of your pencils. I use a Derwent Super Point helical sharpener. It hasn't let me down yet. The next tip is about confidence. Have confidence in your work and don't be afraid to celebrate the little improvements and victories. When I first started, my drawings were nowhere near as good as I thought they were. But thinking they were better inspired me to keep going. If I had been honest about how dodgy they were, I probably would have assumed drawing just wasn't for me. I probably would have put my pencils down and given up. Then I never would have reached where I'm at now. It's good to be honest about your art and be able to know what areas you could work on. But don't be scared of enjoying the improvements and being proud of what you're achieving. Next, I want to talk about developing a specific style. Pick a type of art and focus on it. This might sound harsh, and it's not always applicable. I don't want to discourage people from branching out with their art. It's great to experiment and develop techniques in multiple areas, but to really reach a top level at your style or genre and to improve as quickly as you can, I think it's helpful to focus on one specific thing. Build up that skill and that style and develop your expertise. Then if you want to learn other styles, you can always have your main niche in your back pocket for whenever you need it. Now let's talk about contrast and dark tones. Focus on making your dark tones as dark as they need to be. I think most traditional portrait artists go through a phase where they struggle to make the dark tones dark enough. It can be scary to push yourself to draw darker because it's hard to make things lighter if you go too dark. But achieving those dark tones is one of the most helpful things you can do to improve the contrast and overall look of your work. Getting the dark tones darker was one of the big things that really helped take my art to the next level. And hopefully it can do the same for you. My next tip is the first bit of advice I give to pretty much everyone who asks for help. Using grids. Use grids for accuracy. Grids don't necessarily work for all styles of art, but if what you want from your work is to achieve the most realistic and accurate recreation that you can, I would advise using grids. They help so much with accuracy, and they are the biggest reason for my early improvements as an artist. I feel like drawing realism without grids is a completely different skill. And it's an absolutely incredible skill. I'm always amazed by people who can nail a realism drawing without using grids. And if that's what you want to do, then go for it. But for me, grids are a vital part of getting the best results I can get. Also, draw your grid lines very light. Removing the grid lines can be a huge pain. It can be difficult to get rid of them completely, and if you draw them too dark they can show up underneath paler parts of your drawing. As well as that, if you push too hard when drawing them they can leave indentations on the page, which can then show up under your drawing. So I'd advise you draw your grid lines very faintly and delicately. And finally, remember that anyone can learn. People keep telling me they'd never be able to draw, that they can't even draw a straight line without a ruler, which is a skill most artists never really need to learn, because rulers exist. I used to think that some people were just born for certain things. That some people were born to be artists, some were born to be musicians, or actors. And that I just had to find what I was born to do. But that's really not true. Anyone can learn to draw. You just have to put in the time and practice. This is something that really helped me stay motivated in the earlier years of my art. Don't talk yourself out of a hobby before you've even given it a proper go. And there we have it. I hope these tips can help you, and I hope you enjoyed the drawing. Let me know if you've got any tips in the comment section below. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.